welcome to the business news on Sunrise. Coming up, lead researcher at GCB Capital expects Bank of Ghana to maintain its policy rate as Monetary Policy Committee announces decision today.
Growth is a bit depressed at this time. The Bank of Ghana, I believe, will want to keep the policy rate where it is now at 29.5.
Meanwhile, some economists think the central bank is using wrong tools in managing the country's inflation.
Managing plastic waste.
So monetary policy is not working. In the short term, we're not fighting inflation the right way.
To just manage demand, you have to address the supply factors also.
Plus, producers and marketers of products with plastic packaging to bear cost as government rolls out new policy to augment its efforts in plastic waste management. I am Bismarck Ausa. Will bring you details of our headlines and many other stories shortly. Thanks for choosing us. To our very first story, Bank of Ghana is expected to announce its policy rate today. This follows a meeting by the Monetary Policy Committee from July 19 to 21 to review the performance of the economy. At its meeting on May 22, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana left its policy rate unchanged at 29.5%. Research lead at GCB Capital, Courage Buti, expects the central bank to maintain its policy rate at 29.5%.
The surge we've seen in May and June, I think, are temporal in nature. And given the fact that, yes, growth came in probably stronger than expected in quarter one, but then under the austerity we are seeing, the general expectation that from quarter two going, growth could be depressed. And there is now a lack of, if you like, fiscal support for growth because of the stringent expenditure controls we have had to engage in. In fact, the memorandum on zero financing is actually in place. And so you do not expect a lot of monetary injection on that side of things to help support the smooth running of the economy. So I guess it will be the private sector, it will be credits, things like that, that can drive employment creation and economic activity really. Where growth is a bit depressed at this time, the Bank of Ghana, I believe, will want to keep the policy rate where it is now at 29.5.
That was economist Courage Buti. Meanwhile, some economists have observed the Bank of Ghana is using the wrong tools in managing the country's soaring price levels. Director of Business Operations at Delex Finance, Joe Jackson, thinks Ghana's inflation is not expected to ease anytime soon.
This is Ghana. Rates have been persistently high. Our businesses are not driven by borrowing from the financial institutions. So monetary policy is not working. In the short term, we're not fighting inflation the right way. And the other way of fighting inflation is to say, I will use fiscal policy. I will increase taxes and I will reduce government expenditure. We all know what the problem is. We are refusing to reduce government expenditure. We have increased taxes, but the problem with taxes is that they're a very slow way to fight inflation. And for so long as we don't add the reduced government expenditure, we're fighting inflation with the wrong tools. Are we then surprised that it doesn't work well?
That was Director of Business Operations at Delex Finance, Joe Jackson. Still on managing the country's inflation, and Director of Research at the Institute of Economic Affairs, IEA, Dr. John Kwache, says both monetary and fiscal policies must be deployed to manage the situation.
We have not been very successful in keeping inflation under control. We were successful for a few years, and then now we are back to a very high inflation era. And the problem is that we rely on monetary policy framework that essentially focuses on controlling demand pressures in the economy. What we have come to realize is that our inflation is also determined to a large extent by supply and cost factors. And this, we've been talking about food, importance of fuel in driving our inflation, transportation, and then of course the exchange rate. So you cannot use the Bank of Ghana Ghana policy rate alone, to just manage demand. You have to address the supply factors also. We're just asking both Bank of Ghana and government to, cooperate, work together so that they can also be addressing the supply and cost factors that drive inflation.
You heard Dr. John Kwachi, Director of Research at IEA. Besides the fiscal and monetary policies, a consultant, Dr. Abuaji Debra, says an effective approach in managing inflation in Ghana is to add other stakeholders like Ministries of Agric and Industry and Transport, making inflation as part of their KPIs. He calls for inflation targeting approach to be abandoned.
The cost push inflation, which is the supply driven, where we have food supply, and that's current upward trend now, which is driven by food, where Ministry of Agric should be seen as an accountable source, because food accounts in terms of the CPI significant, and therefore in terms of KPIs, Ministry of Agric should be tasked. And that is where some of us, when we saw Plan for Food and Jobs, we thought there was the need to have that in terms of KPI. Unfortunately, we have Plan for Food and Jobs, yet the outcome of it is where we have food inflation. And it tells a story, okay? And that is where there must be some kind of more different approach of dealing with inflation management in Ghana.
You are still listening to the business news on Sunrise with me, Bismarck Ausa. To some other stories, the Executive Director of Peasant Farmers Association, Dr. Charles Nyaba, has warned many more countries are likely to cut food exports to curb rising global food inflation. India, which contributes about 40% of world rice supply, has banned exports of its non-basmati white rice, which experts believe could lead to hikes in global rice prices. However, Dr. Nyaba believes Ghana has no cause to worry about the situation when it has all the conditions to be a net exporter of the global staple.
India is not the only country that is protecting its domestic consumers. Last week, President Tinubu of Nigeria also announced state of emergency on food security and then banned importation of most of the food that the locals are producing, giving out fertilizer for free, giving seeds for free, for farmers to be able to produce enough for domestic consumption. All is to curb inflation. And what's the inflation rate in Nigeria? It's just 25%. Ghana have no business to even complain about increase in rice prices globally, because we have all what it takes to produce for domestic consumption and for export. Yet, we import about 60% of our rice that we consume.
You heard Executive Director of Peasant Farmers Association, Dr. Charles Nyaba. Producers and marketers of products with plastic packaging should brace themselves to pay for the collection, recycling, and management of the plastic waste, according to the Ministry of Environment, Technology, Science, and Innovation. Director of Policy and Planning, Lydia Isua, who made this known at a media briefing, indicated that the ministry is currently developing a legal framework to make the policy mandatory. Grace Hamwa Ajuman takes up the rest of the story.
Managing plastic waste in the country has been a challenge, with governments introducing policies and interventions but not meeting targets. Producers of plastic products and packages will now pay for plastic management under a new policy.
Whichever private sector entity, be it a manufacturer, a producer, that brings any products that uses plastic packaging to the market, the country will hold that company responsible for the collection of the waste.
The ministry is not clear on how the mode of payments for this cost is going to be, but already there are concerns among marketers and consumers that this could lead to an imposition of a new tax or even an increase in the cost of products.
Honestly, it wouldn't be fun to hear that, knowing the recent increase in tax and the e-levies that we are entitled to pay. But looking at the bigger picture, if it's something small, why not?
If we have to pay a small token to support, I'm okay with it.
I usually carry a plastic bag to collect the waste, and that is rather better.
The waste and things are becoming too much. It's making the place, when it rains, and you see that a lot of dirty things are on the road, and then That one, what you see, is no good, and then it's took the gutter. So I'm willing to support them to pay the distance so that they will take it away.
That's been there here. I say, bet me the bus stop near Adena. Yeah, pack it, baller. I need it. But task this about there. They say no mamu yading.
They should rather provide beans at vantage points rather than a new form of payment.
It is early days yet. The ministry even says it is now developing a legal framework to make this mandatory on producers and marketers. And we'll see how the implementation of this initiative pans out.
And that was a report by Grace Hamwa Ajman. Ghana's trade surplus surged to $1.77 billion in the first half of 2023. This represents 2.4% of gross domestic product, according to the latest data as reported by the Bank of Ghana in their July 2023 Summary of Economic and Financial Data.
The data highlights a sustainable growth from the $1.47 billion, representing 2% of GDP recorded during the same period last year. Ghana's trade performance was boosted by a notable increase in total exports, which reached $8.17 billion by June 2023, while total exports stood at $6.40 billion for the same period. Cocoa proceeds amounted to $1.48 billion in the first 6 months of the year compared to $1.41 billion a year ago. The value of gold exports continued to dominate, surging to $3.45 billion in June 2023, surpassing the $3.03 billion recorded during the comparative period in the previous year. However, a minor dip in crude oil exports was observed, standing at $1.66 billion in June 2023, in contrast to $2.83 billion in June 2023. Ghana's balance of payments showed a remarkable improvement, revealing a mere deficit of $107.8 million, approximately 0.18% of GDP.
And that will be all for the business news on Sunrise with me, Bismarck Ausa. Sports is up next. Stay tuned.
Passengers at Neighbor Cecilia.
Driver, you can't do this in London.
Oh, 1 minute for why? Shell,
Driver, what's all this about?
Oh, madam, help me say thank you to Shell. Because I'm a member of the Shell Club, I get loyalty points every time I buy fuels that I use to redeem gifts I love. Third-party insurance for my car, free medical insurance, and many more. Shell dey my side. In fact, when I see another Shell station, I will hug everyone there.
Hey, driver, what the fire kwanza?
Hey, English, madam. Into TG.
Enjoy numerous benefits when you buy fuel from Shell. Get loyalty points to claim third-party car insurance, family medical cover, provisions, and many more for free. Driver, Shell dey your side. Go well.
A bank that supports you. A bank that cares for you. Hand in hand, we stand with you. So lift your head up, big dreams are waiting. We'll walk with you wherever you go. Where all your dreams are alive, CBG will make you smile. We will rise with you. Your business will flourish. Your name will stand out.
Auntie Araba. Hey, Bugger, how are you doing today? I want to buy Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, but I don't have enough money. So what are you going to do? Can you give me the big size? You know, as for me, I'll pay the balance later.
Today, no credit. I haven't sold much this morning. If you don't have enough money for the big size, why don't you try the 120-gram pack?
There's a 120-gram pack? Introducing the new Pepsodent Cavity Fighter in 120-gram pack size. More affordable and convenient. Get yours today from any supermarket near you. Every smile matters. This advert is FDA approved.
Hello? Yeah, is it true that your Adansia 10 Dubai trip on chartered Emirates flight is sold out?
Yeah, you heard right. All 250 seats to Dubai on 10th August are fully booked, but all hope is not lost. There are a few more seats on Emirates for 13th and 15th August departing to Dubai, with the rates starting at only $1,650.
Huh, great. I can't miss out on this fun trip. Are there any other combo trips?
Yes, we have few seats available on below exciting combo trips. Nairobi and Dubai with Dorinando, Kigali and Dubai with George Quay, South Africa, Victoria Falls and Livingstone with Lexus Bill, Singapore, Bali and Malaysia cruise with Kwame Daze.
Wait, how do I book now?
Just send hi to the WhatsApp number 0593 857 002 or call 0556 310 404 or visit AdansiTravels.com. All bookings from now till 25th July will get free pass to Adansi at 10 Gala Dinner in Accra.
Awesome.
It's a vibe.
Hip, hip, hip! Hooray! It's the Junction Mall heydays. Are you looking for the latest gadgets, home decor and appliances, fashionable clothing, or the most appetizing food to enjoy? Join us at the Junction Mall heydays to explore, shop, and enjoy with family and friends from the 17th to the 31st of July, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. each day, and shop with up to 70% discounts. There'll be lots of fun for the kids, including face painting, boat rides, bumper cars, and a picture with their favorite cartoon characters. The Junction Mall heydays. It's gonna be big. Follow us at the Junction Mall GH on Facebook and Instagram, or call or WhatsApp us on 0540-221774 for more information. The Junction Mall. Join, explore, shop, enjoy.
3FM 92.7. Urban Lifestyle Radio Station on this frequency. 92.7 3FM.
Hello and welcome to Sunrise Sports on 3FM 92.7. I am Kelvin Owusu-Ansah. Let's begin our sports from the camps of Kumasi, Asante Kotoko, and the owner life patron of the Porcupines, Otum Forsey, to the second held an important meeting with the club's former players and supporters on Friday at the Menchia Palace. The meeting aimed to chart a new course for the club following the conclusion of the 3-year mandate of the Dr. Kwame J-led board, which instituted the Nanaia Amponsa management. Now, Asante confirmed that the players of Kotoko have been unpaid for a period of 5 months, highlighting the severity of the financial situation. Moreover, it was also disclosed that the club owes the former CEO Nanaia Amponsa salary arrears amounting 200,000 Ghana cedis and beyond. Well, on Saturday, His Royal Majesty toured the Asante Kotoko training facility at Tadako Jache, together with a section of the funds and the club's important management members, the former management members, as well as the current technical team, equipment officer Isa Amadu, and team manager Ohene Brenya. While Coach Kwesi Appiah, the former Black Stars coach, has been tasked to lead the technical direction of the club, with the new coach, Dr. Prosper Nate Ogum. Here is former Black Stars coach Kwesi Appiah, who is now tasked with the responsibility of leading the technical direction of Kotoko.
Well, I mean, it's an honor actually to be chosen by the King, to lead a process. And as we are aware, he's yet to appoint the director. It was, the director will go ahead and then choose the CEO. At the moment, I'm like an interim person who is standing before the board comes in. So at the moment, I'll say I'm pleased to play a role in the affairs of.
While in expanding his role, Otumfuo has formed an interim management committee to take charge of the Porcupines. Nana Pinkra Kwesiewa, who is the Kontomponi Aferihine and also a chartered accountant, is the leader of this management team. Kwesi Appiah is the former player and ex-Ghana coach, former player of Asante Kotoko. He's also in there. Dr. Prosper Nate Ogum, he's the head coach for Asante Kotoko, so he's made a return. And then Emmanuel Newton Dasoberi is the administrative manager. He has been co-opted from the Nana Amponsa management, so he knows Asante Kotoko really well. Collins Atapoku, sports journalist, has spoken about the new IMC formed by Otumfuo Seitutu.
This time around, it was the Kontomponi Aferihine Anewa who took charge of the IMC, and then decided to get people from the various organs and also for continuity, get someone from the old management to come in. The distinctive thing with this current IMC is that over the years we've seen IMC giving position to members of the National Circles Council. In 2003, when Professor Asare also led his first IMC, he had the then Ashanti Regional Circle Chairman Kwadwo Nyantakyi on the IMC. This time around, there is no circles representation, which for me is an indictment on how they've conducted themselves over the period. But there is from ACOPA, and there is from Misha, there is from the old regime, and then there is from the new technical group that has been constituted to run the club. So 3 years down the line, a few skirmishes, Kotoko is back to start from afresh, but with an old model.
Well, Collins Atapoku was speaking to us on Sports Ultras on Sunday, and although there is Emmanuel Dasoberi in the IMC, Ata explains why Nana Amponsa, not Dr. Kwame, is part of the new setup.
Sharp voices to be heard. At the circle, they decided to take matters into their hands, go to the Adakoja training grounds with placards, billboards, and all sort of flyers, trying to show the king that, look, they want Nana Amponsa to stay and all that, and the politics that it comes from it. Now, there's something we need to understand. These funds needed to consult the right people in Kumasi, and you know the right people here are the kings and queens. They are the people that you can use to get to him.
Yeah.
You know what? Kwame represents a very powerful bloc in Kumasi now.
Mm-hmm.
A bloc that is represented in every facet of Kumasi's social and political life. His direct brother is the Agrek and Zumahine, Anan Kansa Bodu Ayabwa, who is that close to the palace and wields a lot of economic and political influence. This group of people are from the Efija area in Nambula and Yamwasi, where despite and a lot of the bigwigs come from. So it would have been difficult for the king to humiliate him in public, to bring back Nana Amponsa and then scorn the rest of the people here. I mean, it wasn't going to be well. So he has to please all factors and then look at a new direction for the club. And this time around, he's decided to entrust that two old players, represented by Opokunti and Kwesi Appiah, with Kwesi Appiah getting them not to be on IMC. So our urge, our new school funds, that this is for the interim, but for the proper direction and proper model change or continuation, they should keep engaging the relevant kings and queens in the kingdom, and then also some of the influential ACOPA members, especially Papa Ako, the last CAF Champions League winning captain. He holds a lot of influence at the palace currently, together with Kwesi Appiah.
Right. While away from Kumasi, Asante Kotoko GNPC Foundation has opened the doors to the Ghana Football Association to discuss developing standard facilities for domestic football. In the last 18 months, the country has struggled to have a standard facility that has been sanctioned for national team football by FIFA and CAF permanently. The stadiums and pitches being used by the Ghana Premier League clubs is nothing to write home about. Dr. Dominic Edia is the executive director of the GNPC and hopes that the Ghana Football Association will quickly put together proposals to help them develop some very good pitches and facilities for local football.
It came up strongly. I think Dr. Banyaku, in charge of football licensing, brought this issue up somewhere around last year. And we've been discussing the nature of it and how best it can fit the standard of international football. So I'm sure we'll get there. the primary purpose from when we started was to ensure that we build it for the community to improve health and sports. But that's the next level we're looking at, which is already being discussed, led by Dr. Banyakun, head of football licensing at GFA. So it's already being discussed as we speak.
So that is from Dr. Dominic Adria. Now, Legon Cities have announced former Ghana youth coach Samuel Pakwesi Fabian as the club's new coach. Now, Fabian replaces Max Oknedu, who left after the 2022-2023 Ghana Premier League season and now with Nswa Treman Football Club. The former Asante Kotoko SC coach was with Adiana FC last season and finished second behind champions Mediama SC. He's expected to begin work on the 1st of August. Now to the international front, and Cote d'Ivoire forward Wilfred Zaha is close to completing a move to Turkish side Galatasaray. He decided to stay in Europe after wanting a move out of England but declined joining the Saudi Pro League. Zaha is a happy player now.
I'm happy. I'm happy to be here. I'm looking forward to seeing the stadium, to meeting my teammates, and just getting started. Thank you for the support. And I look forward to doing what I do on the pitch, and hopefully trying to win as much as possible.
Also, that was from Wilfred Zaha. Now moving on to Manchester City, and Pep Guardiola says Erling Haaland expects his teammates to find it very difficult to deal with him at training, but also expects the same thing from the other clubs that Haaland faces this upcoming season. Pep explains why he believes the player is in a very good shape now.
Comparing last season, in that period, he's fitter. He's much better than the last season when he arrived, and I know we would love to be as like season, but at the end is not the point. The point is no injury, and of course looks good, but still is away from the best condition like everyone. So, but of course important for him to score the 2 goals of his game, because last season, the last games he could not score. And the important is take the rhythm, the principles, the concept that we are working with all the time. So get it as better as possible, and we know exactly what he has to do. We know him, and in a few weeks we'll be in better condition than now.
Well, a few weeks will be in a better condition than now. Now, Manchester United defeated Arsenal in a friendly in the USA by 2-0, courtesy goals from Jadon Sancho and Bruno Fernandes in a midfield dominance that left questions from Arsenal fans. Mikel Arteta has responded on the workability of the midfield trio between Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard and Kai Havertz. He believes that they need that consistency to thrive.
They play 55 times together, it will be better, it will flow better, they will understand each other better, and will be more dominant and better. But things takes time to glide, and we have to respect that. But I saw a lot of positive things, things that I really like much more than the game that we won against the MSA, although the result is very different.
Well, very different in there from Mikel Arteta. Now, it's been a very difficult 2 years for Paul Pogba with recurrent injuries preventing him from having a good time on the pitch. The Juventus midfielder, however, wants to make an impact in helping the less privileged. Pogba has spoken on poverty alleviation in the UK.
It's something that he clears. I feel very good inside, and I really like to help people. Me personally, I like to do those things because I kind of feel bad sometimes when I can eat, I can travel, I can do those things, and when I go to Africa, example, they don't have electricity, example, they don't have water. So I kind of want to help those people to feel a bit what luxury looks like in those perspective, I would say. I mean, this is with the company because they started here in UK, so there's a lot of people from UK. Help the company of Wahid. So today it can be UK and tomorrow it can be somewhere else. That's the goal, because we want Wahid to go worldwide. We just try to help as much as we can, and hopefully if you can end poverty will be the goal.
Well, that is from Paul Pogba. Now, Fulham midfielder João Palhinha has potentially dislocated his shoulder and will have a scan on Monday to find out the extent of the injury, according to Fulham boss Marco Silva. Now, the Portuguese was substituted late in the first half of Fulham's 3-2 win over Brentford in the Premier League Summer Series in Philadelphia. On Sunday, the 28-year-old left the pitch with his arm supported in a sling by his shirt. Now, let's take a look at some transfer news. And Everton have completed the signing of winger Arnaud Danjuma on a season-long loan from Villarreal. Now, the Netherlands forward agreed terms with the Toffees in January, but joined Tottenham after they made a late move. The 26-year-old made 9 appearances for Spurs before returning to Spain at the end of the season. Now, Fulham are also closing in on the signing of Wolves striker Raul Jimenez for a fee of about £5 million. The move from Mexico international Jimenez, 32, has been prompted by the uncertainty over Alexander Mitrovic's future. The Serbia striker is still pushing for a move to Saudi Pro League side Al Hilal after Fulham rejected a £25 million bid. Now, Newcastle United have also signed England winger Harvey Barnes from Leicester City for a fee of about £38 million. The 25-year-old, capped once by England, has signed a 5-year contract with the Magpies. He's the club's third sign of the summer following the arrivals of forward Yankuba Minte and Italian international midfielder Sandro Tonali. Now to athletics, and Zaniel Hughes broke the 30-year British 200 meters record by clocking 19.73 seconds in front of a sellout 50,000 crowd at the London Diamond League. The 28-year-old took 0.21 seconds of the previous mark of 19.94 set by John Regis at the 1993 World Championships. Here is Zaniel Hughes.
Today was an experimental day. My coach gave me a plan, and we went out there today and executed what he wanted me to do, and I'm looking forward to hear what he has to say and what we can fix. And
well, so happy with his performance, but it is the second long-standing national mark Hughes has broken this season, having smashed the 100 meters record in June. Now, the record time saw Hughes take third, with American Noah Lyles once again dominating the 200 meters as he became champion, winning in 19.47 seconds. He fired shots after winning, telling the world that he owns the 200 meters.
Yeah, USA's, I felt like I was fighting for my life in that 100. But with this one, it's, giving a one and done and, giving it all I got and having the fast competition. I've never had anybody come that close to me in a race in a very long time. And, at first I was a little upset, and then I saw the time and I was like, oh, okay, I'll allow it. We're running that fast. You can be as close as you want as long as I win. Today, I think I was just firing off warning shots. Remind everybody that the 200 is mine. You guys can have second, but the 200 belongs to me.
The 200 belongs to him now. Letile Tebogo from Botswana came second and broke the African record in 19.50 seconds. Tebogo's 19.50 seconds has become an African record, a new one, eclipsing Frankie Fredericks' 19.68 from the Atlanta 1996 Olympic final, and moved him up from tied 54th to the 6th on the all-time 200 meters list. Now, Marie-José Talon continued to show no sign of slowing down as she pulled off a big win over 100 meters at the Diamond League with a 10.75 second victory. Now, the 34-year-old Ivorian powered through to make sure Dina Asher-Smith could only afford a second with a season's best of 10.85, and Sherika Jackson in third place. Now, world record holder Van Niekerk also held off a strong American challenge to claim his third Diamond League win of the season. Wade Van Niekerk remains unbeaten in 2023, and after a measured first half of the race, the South African star held off American pair Bryce Dedmon and Vernon Norwood to clinch his third Diamond League win of the season in 44.36 seconds. Now, Max Verstappen has also been dominant in the Formula One, and he had victory at the Hungarian Grand Prix, setting a win record for his Red Bull team. The Dutchman's 7th victory in a row and 9th of the season was Red Bull's 12th consecutive win, dating back to the final race of 2022 in Abu Dhabi. Now, finishing off with some tennis news, Andrei Rublev beat Kaspar Ruud in straight sets to claim the Swedish Open title in Bastad. Russia's world number 725 defeated Norway's Ruud 7-6, 6-0-2. to win the second title of the year. Elsewhere, Pedro Cashan, 28, won his first career title, beating 35-year-old Spaniard Albert Ramos Vinolas 3-6, 6-love, 7-5 in the Swiss Open final. That'll be all for sports this morning. My name is Kelvin Owusu-Ansah. Don't forget, the Women's World Cup is currently ongoing, and there is a game that has just finished between Italy and Argentina, and Italy defeated Argentina by a goal to nil. The other games, Brazil women against Panama women, and then there is also Germany women against Morocco. So the fourth African representative, Morocco, will be playing very soon. Well, it's a Tuesday. Johnny Hughes and the rest of the team continue with Sunrise. Have a brilliant morning, but a happy birthday to Emmanuel Ainchi, as you are a banker, and may the good Lord continue to bless you, Ella. And yes, Nash Bogo, yes, our camera technician here at Media General. Nash, today is a blessed one for you. Have a very big one. DJ Abiam, as always, is here to serve you with the sweetest songs before the team takes over.